Sri Lanka is in crisis. Amid an unprecedented economic crisis, President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has declared a state of emergency. Angry citizens have hit the streets demanding his resignation. But Sri Lankans have reasons to be angry. Over the past few weeks, prices of essential food items have been skyrocketing, with their supplies getting depleted in the market. A 400-gram packet of milk powder costs 200 Indian rupees, and prices of rice and sugar have doubled. Long hours of power cuts lasting more than 13 hours have plunged the country into darkness as power stations remain closed due to fuel shortage. Even streetlights are being turned off to save electricity. The government has had to cancel exams for school children as the country has run out of printing paper. Some Sri Lankans are even trying to flee the country, with refugees entering India through Tamil Nadu. So, how did Sri Lanka end up in this situation? Over the last few years, Sri Lanka had taken on large amounts of debt from China, which it is now finding hard to repay. To make matters worse, the country had no major manufacturing or skilled service base. The country's economy is mainly dependent on two T's: tourism and tea. The COVID pandemic and travel bans took a toll on Sri Lanka's tourism industry. As visits from foreign tourists dried up, the country saw a steep drop in its foreign exchange reserves. Also, the Sri Lankan government's policy of banning chemical fertilizers and its complete shift to organic agriculture had drastic effects on production of crops, especially tea. With the yield of tea decreasing, the Sri Lankan government saw less money coming in through tea trade. Another significant source of revenue for Sri Lanka is the remittance money sent by Sri Lankans working abroad, which dropped to a 10-year low at $5.49 billion in 2021. The combined hits on tourism, tea and remittances has taken Sri Lanka's economy to the brink. The country has forex reserves of around $2 billion, which is less than the personal net worth of Nykaa's founder Falguni Nayar and just 2% of the personal net worth of Reliance CEO Mukesh Ambani. But tourism, tea and remittances, does this ring a bell? Kerala. Kerala's similarities with Sri Lanka extend beyond its sandy beaches, the scenery and the climate. Just like Sri Lanka, Kerala's economy too is dependent on tourism, tea and remittances. Decades of communist rule has stifled industrial development in the state, with frequent strikes and extortionate practices like gawking wages driving away businesses. As a result, many enterprises which were based in Kerala have downed their shutters. Companies like Kitex and PepsiCo have moved on to other states due to the hostility shown towards businesses by the communists. With an underdeveloped industrial sector, Kerala relies heavily on tourism. Today, almost 10% of Kerala's GDP comes from the tourism sector, and it provides 24% of the employment in the state. Kerala is also dependent on the revenue generated through cultivation of cash crops like rubber,